today is day 3 of the Because We Can readathon. I'm so excited for today's video because it's Hamilton based and I really love Hamilton. It was actually the first musical I ever saw in person a little over 2 years ago, so I'm only like a newbie to going to musicals live, but I've always grown up loving Disney musicals, Barbie musicals, just general musicals. But Hamilton has like a part in my heart because it is like the first one that ever really captivated me, and that's really exciting. But today's challenge, we're going to talk about books that we would burn or would never read, but I'm going to talk about books that I have read that I would burn willingly, happily, because I don't like them and they were awful and I don't own any of them because why would I own books that cause me so much grief and pain? Like, I for sure understand Eliza's need to burn the letters because I wish I never read the words and it would help letting it go, but I'm not going to burn a fire. I was thinking maybe I could like light a candle, but that's gonna be like, it's gonna burn. I have a candle that I could just, but also I don't have a lighter with me right now, but we can just pretend. I'll have the photos and just of what I want to burn because these books deserve it. Also, I highly recommend going to the Because We Can channel because there will be the host video of the day there as well, so you can see the different takes that people have. Also, I feel like a lot of us are going to be on each other's subscription list, so I recommend going to watch everyone's video for this because I feel like this is going to be a very interesting one because I want to know how hardcore people are going to feel. So comment down below to me if you've got videos as well because I will watch them because this is definitely a theme I'm excited for. But without further ado, let's get into the list that I have of books that I would burn. Number 1, I actually freaking own, oh my god, this trilogy of arsery, okay? I would happily burn it, but it's also quite thick as well, so it would be very good for burning. But this trilogy is awful. I wish I never picked it up, and I was so sad because Poison Study got me captivated by the series and the world. So you have to read the first 3 Poison Study books, then this trilogy, then the next 3 Poison Study books. So even though Poison Study is 6 books, it's basically a 9-book series. I read the whole thing. Why can I just not let things go? Because I should have just stopped after book 1, but I kept going to read how abysmal this love interest is and this character is and this world is, and how the main character is just stupid and just lets herself get into these situations that I do not understand. It just became hate reading, I swear. I just could not. And I just still own them because I just feel like I can't get rid of them, but I really should. But it's like, because it's the middle series, it's a weird thing. It's gonna look weird on my shelves. But I really should unhaul these because it's just the worst books ever. Next, I want to talk about Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. I just did not like this book. There was too many issues with it, with the way that it was written. Because, like, it's about the minority being people of darker skin and they're the ones that are getting persecuted all the time. And that was just uncalled for. But it was also really confusing and really boring. And I just did not care about the story. And I also hate that the cover has cut marks, which can be very triggering for anyone, like, because it's just right there on the cover. Like, it's not even just a trigger warning to say this happens in the book, it's on the cover. So the message was just not a good one. Like, this is purely like political reasons as well as me just thinking this book was just not it. I never read the sequel. I don't know how it ends. It could be the best thing ever, but I hope it's not because it has a really bad start. Next, I want to talk about Scala by A.G. Gorgon. So I got this trilogy, like I bought the whole thing, read the first book, and then I unhauled it all. Like, I could not do it. This is crazy to me too because I have mentioned this before, but Reign the Earth was my favourite book of the year by this author. And then I also read this book in the same year and it was my least favourite book of the year. So that's just crazy to me that, like, I could just so much hate this book. But it's a retelling of Robin Hood, but like Robin Hood is a character, right? Like, I'm trying to remember what actually happened. So yeah, Robin Hood's a character and she's just there, and there's a love interest with Robin Hood and Will, and she's so dumb. Like, she's meant to be like this huntress girl and she just, every decision she could make, she did not make the correct one. And the writing was really weird jargon that I just could not, like, it was giving me a headache reading it because it was just grating me. And she also was just, I don't, like, I'm trying to remember everything. Like, the love triangle was dumb, the plot was dumb, everything about it was like dumb. Was she actually made Marion? No, I don't think so, because I feel like It's like they're meant to be really, like, attracted to her, but then, like, it's weird. It's just weird, okay? Like, if anyone still has it on their shelf because they either got it sent for a review or decided to buy them, just unhaul it, okay? It's not worth it. Next, I want to talk about The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. This one is mainly on my list because it took me 6 months to finish it, because I just cannot DNF books. I will just put them aside until I finally decide to read it again. That is what I do. Even with books that I like, though, that happens sometimes because I don't read quick enough anymore, so I have to sometimes put things down for a few months before I can get back into it because other things are more pressing. But this book was just very boring. Like, I just did not care about this dollhouse that she put things in and it happened in real life, but then she's like sold off to this man who's very weird and like he doesn't interact with her even though she's like his wife, and then we find out this thing about him that I was just like, oh my god. Like, in the time, it was just because it's not, like, I mean, the thing that it is isn't bad, but it's just the way he goes around it. I was bored shitless. Like, I honestly cannot even tell you the name of the characters. I just remember the big thing that he does, and there's the house. I don't even know who The Miniaturist was, to be honest, but it was just, like, I read it because it was, like, recommended on BookTube, and it was just not a fun ride. Next, I want to talk about Betrothed, and I think the author's name is like Winder Wiltshire or something. Like, it's a WW name. I cannot remember, but I bought these because, like, when I was in junior by night, there was a bookstore that didn't have much. So when these books were like in the bookstore, I got very excited and decided to buy them. And like, my brain back then did not really like sex very much. It wasn't something I really enjoyed reading. Like, the only thing I had read was like the ACOTAR series, and it was just like, oh my god. But this book annoyed me because it's like this girl who's like allergic to freaking everything in the world, but when she goes to the Feylands, she's not allergic. And there's this broody dude here that's like meant to be the love interest, and he is the love interest, but he's like betrothed to someone else, and he's a big high Fey prince, but he likes her for some reason, and like she's in the world but she shouldn't be there because she's a human, and she keeps getting put like back into her normal world, but like because she's allergic to everything, it's really hard. But the thing that I just couldn't deal with is constantly all she could think about was sleeping with him. There wasn't sex in the 2 books that I read. I think it ended up being a 4-book series, but it was just all she thought about. Like, every waking minute. Like, not, oh my god, I could die because I'm allergic, but no, wanting to get railed. And it was just painful. Like, I mean, even romance books, if I read them now, if that's all they think about, it's kind of like, where's the plot? And there is plot in this book, but it's a YA novel that is just completely obsessed with having sex with her boyfriend. I was just like, dude, stop it. Like, I feel like this book could have been very interesting. Like, it had an interesting plot and story. But we got none of that because of the obsession. It was just too much for me. Next, I want to talk about Stardust by Neil Gaiman, because I thought this book was actually so awful. I loved the movie, and the movie is so like underappreciated because it's so good, and I don't see that many people talk about it. And it was like in more recent years people have started to appreciate it more, because like it flopped when it came out and now people like it, but like it's really good, the movie. And I was like, oh, the book's got to be good, right? The book is an adult book and they made the movie for children, so there is things that happen in the book that I was just appalled by, that I can't remember, but I just remember just being so like, oh, about many things. And I just didn't like the romance. It just felt very weird. It didn't felt sweet in the book like it is in the movie. And this is definitely a situation where the movie is better than the book, which doesn't happen often, but in this case it was definitely awful. And lastly, I want to talk about Reign of the Fallen. I can't remember who this is by. I know it's got the big skull on the cover. I had owned this book for a very long time and I was very excited to read it, and then it just was so bad. Okay, because like you've got the main character, and it's weird because it's like, so there's these demony things that come out, and once they get into humans they can't like go into the sun or they become a full demon. It's like a zombie thing. Like, once you get bitten, as long as you don't go in the sun, you remain human, but once you go in the sun you become a weird thing. But the characters can go into this other world to bring spirits back once they've been taken by the darkness, to bring them back, and then they become Or maybe actually, maybe they become a monster, but they gotta go get their soul, and once they bring the soul back, then they can't go on the sun. Like, their sunlight is an issue, but they go into this other world, and they have these special knives things, but then all these demons want to kill them while they're trying to find the soul. And anyway, like, I'm in there, and she's like, she's got her partner that she kind of like really enjoys and she likes being around. But then there's just like a sudden death, okay? So like, spoiler, but her partner dies, who was her boyfriend. And then the way that she handles her grief was just, like, I know that people experience grief differently, but she was dumb, mean. She was having sex with a new dude within like 24 hours, and it was like a really weird grief thing happening there that I was like, stop. And she's like, oh, I gotta go on the other world and do the, and she just was trying to be like righteous when she was so obviously needed therapy and was making bad decisions. And I think that, like, just because there wasn't many of these like warrior people that go into the other world to help, she had to be put into the field. I was just, yeah, like, I could not deal. Like, it was so bad. And this is one that I think I had to sit down for a while because I just couldn't get through it. Or no, I listened to it, so I had a whole month of listening to this shit. It was awful. Oh my god, you know, I was sitting here being like, I'm not gonna have that many angry thoughts, but these are like my reasons to hate reading sometimes, because like these books are like the worst of the worst for me. And like, honestly, if any of these are books that people really like, I'm so sorry that my opinion is different than yours, because like, I just couldn't do it. But that's the thing, is when people talk about my favorite books and they hate on them, I sometimes be there like, shit, like, you make a good point, but I'm just going to ignore the point because I love these books. So I hope everyone feels the same. If any of these are your top favorite books, again, I'm sorry. But I hope you enjoyed my video for this one. It's become a long one. I've noticed how long I've been filming for, but like, I think I really needed this rant. Like, oh my god. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.